Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, dig in, and really try to pull out the core insights for you.
And today we're looking at an interview you shared with us featuring the artist Rhyder. It's from Vietcetera's YouTube channel.
Right, we've got the transcript here. And our mission basically is to understand Ryder's journey, especially that time he was away and then his comeback, his whole creative evolution.
You sent this one, and yeah, it's full of interesting bits about, well, resilience, finding your artistic voice again. Let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, right at the start, he's asked to introduce himself, but not using his stage name.
And he kind of struggles. He actually jokes about needing to, like, phone a friend or something. It really shows how much Rhyder is part of his identity now.
Totally intertwined. And it seems like when things get tough, his first thought is his team. B-house, he called them.
Yeah, it points to a really strong support system, super important in that industry. He needs those people.
And if he wasn't doing music, he first says singer, but then kind of broadens it out to just artist.
It feels like creativity is just fundamental for him, whatever form it takes. He has to make stuff.
Okay, and here's something specific about how he creates his signature process.
Yeah, the late nights. He apparently does his best work really late, like after 2 a.m.
Classic artist mode, right?
Right.
Burning the midnight oil, that quiet time, maybe fewer distractions.
Exactly. Which leads us into this whole section on personal growth. He talks about a really big shift.
From neglecting himself to, as he put it, being busy loving myself. That sounds like a conscious effort.
Oh, definitely. He contrasts the writer from the past, someone who couldn't say no, always put others first, with who he is now.
And he actually lists things he did, concrete actions for self-love, like taking care of how he looks, eating better food, simple things, but important.
They really are. It's about building that self-respect brick by brick. And interestingly, he ties music into this. He calls it a spiritual practice.
How so?
Well, he says it's about focusing on new ideas, learning new things, kind of elevating his thinking through the music itself.
Huh. So music isn't just the job, it's the self-improvement tool as well.
Pretty much. And his daily routine during this musical cultivation phase, as he calls it, intense.
Right, he said he'd wake up and just dive straight into music,
Yeah.
sometimes forgetting to eat.
Yeah, completely engrossed. He admits he's a workaholic, but also says that's pretty common for young people who are really passionate about something.
Yeah, I get that. But that kind of intensity, it can lead to burnout too, maybe.
Yeah.
Which sort of takes us to the hiatus period.
Exactly. After that early fame from the Voice Kids back in 2013, he just vanished for a while.
And the reasons he gave were, well, pretty heavy. Family problems, a lot of stress, feeling lost.
The pressure must have been immense, especially being so young. He said the absolute worst part, the most painful thing, was the family discord.
Doesn't go into super specific details, but you can feel the weight of it. It's tough to create when things are falling apart personally.
Absolutely. So what brought him back then? What made him decide to return?
Two main things, it sounds like. First, his mom, wanting to support her, especially because they'd faced hardship before.
That's a powerful motivator. And the second...
His fans. Or, well, this small group of fans who didn't forget him, who kept supporting him even when he was out of the public eye.
Wow. That really shows the impact even a few dedicated listeners can have, doesn't it?
Totally. He felt he owed it to them, wanted to make them proud, show them you can persevere.
And his reaction to the positive reception he got when he did come back, especially with Rap Viet.
He seemed genuinely happy, maybe even a little surprised. He said he went into Rap Viet totally spontaneously, with zero expectations.
Yeah, like thinking each round might be his last. That's a very different headspace from maybe his first brush with fame. Grounded.
But confident, too. He knew he could perform. And it's interesting you mentioned wishing people knew he'd still been making music all along, just quietly.
Right. It wasn't like he stopped being an artist. He was just doing it away from the spotlight. So during that time off, did he talk about what he was listening to or trying out musically? Any hints of the new direction?
He didn't really detail specific artists or styles from that period, more the internal shift, but it clearly fed into what came next.
Yeah.
So bringing us to today. What's driving him now?
He's very clear. It's his audience. Now that he has that connection again after losing it, he really values it.
And he doesn't want to get complacent. He talked about always needing to innovate, find new challenges, keep things interesting for them.
That drive for constant evolution, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect lead-in to how he actually found his current, very unique sound.
Ah, the growling. This is a great story. It wasn't planned at all, was it?
Not even slightly. Took him apparently 10 years of searching, feeling his older stuff was maybe a bit generic.
And then?
Then, just jamming with friends, totally casual, he discovers this growling vocal thing he can do. And crucially, he can do it without wrecking his voice.
Like, it's just a natural ability for him. Wild.
Yeah. Pretty much. He did mention being inspired by another artist, Vin Kuat, who used growls. So the sound was kind of in the air.
But the breakthrough was combining it with something else, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Combining the growls with auto-tune while writing rap lyrics. He said it just created this boom, this explosive, totally new sound.
And his friends heard it and were like, whoa, what is that?
Exactly. Immediate positive feedback. And suddenly, he said, all these new ideas just started flooding in, like opening a faucet.
Amazing what one little accident can unlock.
Mhm.
Okay, so the interview wasn't all super serious music talk, though.
No, there was that quick mention of a dark jokes segment. Something about musical instrument jokes.
Yeah, just a brief, lighthearted moment. Shows he doesn't take himself too seriously all the time.
Adds a bit of dimension, but
Yeah.
back to the grind. He describes his current life as a hustle.
For sure. Working nonstop, barely sleeping. It sounds like he's making up for lost time almost.
Yeah.
Really cherishing the second chance.
Definitely not taking it for granted. And he's pouring that energy into actual work. Multiple singles coming, a full album.
Plus, he's in that Anh Say Hi competition.
Right. And that story about the practice room flooding. And him just wading through knee-deep water to get there.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Tells you everything you need to know about his commitment right now.
He also hinted at 2 other projects, called them huge and intense. So, yeah, lots happening.
So with all that, how does he even switch off? How does he relax?
Seems pretty simple, actually. Hanging out with his cats, Kid and Kit Kat.
Always a good stress reliever.
Listening to music, obviously.
Yeah.
And sleeping.
Yeah.
When he can get it, presumably.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dig into how he writes. Is it planned out or more like lightning striking?
He definitely prefers the lightning strike method, spontaneous inspiration. Says sometimes a whole song just comes out super fast, like 30 minutes.
Wow.
He compares it to freestyling, just letting the words and the flow guide him. He finds planning songs, with deadlines and specific topics much harder.
That pressure to define and deliver quickly?
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see that being tough if you prefer organic creation.
But he gets it. He knows that for a professional career, you have to be able to work in a structured way sometimes, even if it's not his favorite. It's balance.
So who does he look up to? Any musical heroes?
He named one big one, G-Dragon. GD.
Ah, okay. K-pop royalty. What specifically about GD?
His style, how he built his career, and maybe how he navigates public opinion and all that comes with fame, a big influence.
Interesting. And then right at the very end of the chat, there was that fun little tarot card moment.
Yeah. He pulled a happy cat card, which he took as a sign it was a good conversation. A nice positive note to end on.
So let's wrap this up. Key takeaways from this dive.
Well, for me, it's Rhyder's whole arc. Coming back from a really difficult period, rediscovering himself, finding a unique artistic path. And his sheer dedication now is incredible.
Yeah, that dedication really comes through. And I keep coming back to that growling vocal discovery. Just serendipity, a moment of play leading to his signature sound.
It's a fantastic reminder, isn't it, that sometimes the best things aren't planned. You chose a really compelling interview here. His story, it's about passion, bouncing back, things a lot of people can probably relate to, even outside of music.
Definitely. That struggle between the creative drive and just, looking after yourself.
Yeah.
That's pretty universal for driven people.
So thinking about his focus on always evolving.
Yeah.
What's next for him musically? Where could he take this unique sound he's built?
That's a great question to leave folks with. What does the future sound like for Rhyder? Anyway, thanks for sending the source in. It was a fascinating exploration.